Sarah, I've been called a lot worse. Good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Good morning.
Great invocation. Couple things. Well, let me start off first with my joke. Y'all ready for this? Hang on a second. I think I forgot it. How do you get a farm girl to marry you? A tractor. I thought it was a John Deere, but I just couple of things. And that's the reason why Rob Smith couldn't come up. He knew I was pulling out the A joke today.
Well, he's not here.
I know. A lot about Rob. Couple things have been coming up, and someone just asked me before the meeting again, is the whole squatter concerns. Like, I honestly don't know what the concerns are, because what you're seeing in the media and what you're seeing in news stuff around the country, this is the wild, wild west. This is Arizona, and we don't play those games. If somebody comes into your home, be it vacant, whatever, if not burglary, it's trespassing, depending on the situation. If you go to the store and you come in and somebody's moved into your house, that's called burglary, they're going to jail. If you have a home that maybe your mother, father, grandparents, whatever, and it's sitting vacant because you don't have to sell a home, you can keep it as investment. If you don't want to deal with a renter, you can absolutely let it sit vacant forever if you want. That's your choice. And if somebody comes into that home, that would be trespassing, if not burglary. And let's say you find that they've been there for a month, we will still come in and arrest them and book them into jail for trespassing. You don't have to put up no trespassing signs on private property. It's automatically implied you are not allowed to trespass on people's property. Now, the only time something comes into question where you start getting into the legalities is if, let's say you have a home that's sitting vacant, somebody identifies that, and now I put an ad out on your home pretending to be the owner, and then I get somebody to lease it from me or rent it from me as a fraudulent scheme, then they move in where they've paid me the first and last month, and I take that cash and I just now take off, and you come to your house months later and realize that somebody's living in there. Then we run into the issue of, and it's not squatting, but they're the victims of having to pay for a lease and put the money down. They think that this is a legitimate owner, so they should have done their homework to verify that that's the owner of the residence, or do something to make sure that they weren't being scammed themselves. But that happens. It happens fairly regularly. So that's not a squatting. It's a fraudulent, crime that's occurred where you're the victim, they're the victim. But I think what we're seeing now too, and we're not seeing that here, so I'm just talking speculation across the country, is if I'm going to squat in your house, I would make up all this fake paperwork, this lease agreement. I would move into your home as a squatter, so to speak, and I talk with my hand. So basically, they're could potentially make that to where it looks like they're the victim, but ultimately they're not. So that would take a deputy to come out, investigate it, look for proof of payment, look for that kind of stuff. Now, in that situation where if they did sign a lease, then they ultimately would have to be evicted from the process or evicted from the property, and then you would have to go through the courts and all that stuff. So again, we're not seeing that here. We rely on our neighbors out here, the community. Everyone's kind of looking out for each other. If somebody's moving into a house or coming to a house and your neighbor's that's vacant, you need to be calling us, asking questions, trying to figure out what's going on, why is someone there. So ultimately look out for your neighbors and protect each other and all that kind of stuff. So the only other type of squatting thing comes into play is like a property. Let's say you own 10 acres of land and somebody comes onto your property, sets up their RV, their tent, whatever, starts living. that still is not squatting. It's not squatting because if you catch them, I don't care if they've been there 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, you come up to your property up north and all of a sudden here's this guy, that's called trespassing, get out or you're going to jail. The only time like real property becomes a squatting is if they live there for more than 10 years.
Wow.
Okay, but even after 10 years, if there still comes some things into play, if the owner knew they were there and didn't do anything, then they would start accumulating some ownership or those squatting rights. So the term squatting needs to be like removed from our vocabulary, because it's either trespassing, it's either burglary, it's either fraudulent lease agreement, where now we've got victims, but ultimately that's still a situation where we're gonna handle it, investigate it, issue trespassing, or assist you with giving you the information on how you can ultimately get somebody evicted from your property. We work with the constables, and we can help you with that process too. So ultimately, if you go to the grocery store and you come back and someone's in your home, it's not squatting, it's called burglary, or it's called trespassing, and we will address that. So we will take people to jail, and we will be absolutely glad to do so. So, am I missing anything? You want to throw something in?
Well, the one thing that the captain was talking about on private land, that is under Arizona state law and federal law. It's called homesteading. And that's when the 10 years come into play. The squatting here, I can tell you right now, I listen to every call. I'm here Tuesday through Friday. I'm listening to the radio, going to calls with the guys. There is not somebody that goes to a house that the neighbor does not know that we don't get called on. I get called on solar salesmen. We're good.
Shocking. So, you know, like in Youngtown, we have some vacant homes, and the town has worked with us on trying to create a list. The hardest part is updating that list because there's such a turnover. So we try and ultimately keep an eye on those vacant homes. And you know, obviously in Sun City, you guys have the vacation watches, patrol watches, that kind of stuff. So if you guys have or know of a home that's sitting vacant, I would suggest we put it on a patrol watch and then just keep an eye on it. And then when it does change, you know, contact us. We'll be glad to find out, you know, is someone living there as they should, or is there any suspicious circumstances? So keep us informed. We will help out in any way that we can. John, was there anything else? That's it.
I've got a question for you. Trespass
Oh,
agreements.
yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, because, you know, still condos with common areas, all that other. Do you want us still, while they're thinking about whether it's long-term or 1 year thing, do you still want us to keep getting new trespass agreements and
Yeah,
keep that
every
process
year.
going?
We need to keep up on those annually so that, you know, inevitably somebody changes ownership, and we need to keep up on that. So please encourage people to do the trespassing forms. You know, again, not residential, it's not necessary, but like you say, the condos, the common areas, absolutely, we wanna do that, so. Yeah.
If I see an ad in the paper that says this house is for lease, and I call the number and I meet them at the house, and at that point, I don't know these people at all, right? Can I call you all and say, does this guy own the property?
Well, you can go onto the county assessor's website. So if you go onto the Maricopa
Okay,
County.
I'm at the house. I'm not at my
Okay,
computer.
before you go to the house, do a little bit of research. And if not, get rid of your flip phone and get a smartphone. You can do it. Just kidding, sorry, man. Flip phones are cool. Yeah, do your research, you know, and honestly, you know, you can, I know there's realtors that'll assist with renting properties, but do your homework. Talk to somebody that's computer savvy if you're not yourself, but just do a little bit of research. And you know, if you know who the owner is, if it's a business, you can contact that business. If it's a person, when you go contact, you know, they're probably smart and did their homework, but you can do a little bit of research to find out who this person is. And if you get there and that's not that person, and they're saying, oh, it's my great aunt or whatever, then I would find that suspicious, do a little bit of research, maybe talk to the neighbors, knock on the door, say, hey, who lives here? There's this person is trying to rent it. what do you think about this? And, you know, they would say, oh, no, I know her and she's, you know, back east, whatever. So do some research, ask some questions, get nosy and start digging into it, so. And if not, give us a call and we'll be glad to do some research for you. Sir?
I have a question about, is there anything that we can do with the homeless around 107th and Grand by Fry? They seem to be numb to us even telling them to move. I don't know,
Well,
Fry's,
yeah, so because you guys aren't representatives of that property, be really careful about that. If you see somebody loitering, hanging around, Fry's does have a trespassing agreement with us. Have we updated that, Jonathan? Is that pretty current, Fry's trespassing agreement?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So if we've got that agreement on file, which we should, then we can go out there and tell people leave. So just give us a call, just say, hey, there's, you know, homeless hanging around, vagrants, whatever, standing around out front, and they're, you know, we asked them that, hey, you need to move along. They said they, you know, ignored us, but they have their own private security there. I know they had an incident involving the private security recently, so I hope that they're still there, maybe not those individuals, I don't know if it's different, but ultimately they do recognize the issue. They started losing business with the amount of issues, so they did bring in private security, and I think it's improved. So there's two private securities, there's the shopping security and there's the Fry's security, so definitely give us a call if you have an issue. We'll meet with them, talk with them, and find out what's going on, so. Okay, anybody else, any questions?
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
So the no trespassing for the malls, so you have Fry's, you have all those other store restaurants things. Should we pursue a no trespass for each individual business?
No.
And the whole mall? Or
No,
just-
the businesses rent the store, they don't rent the
Yes.
parking lot, but it's
Okay.
through the management company, so.
Okay.
And Fry's owns, I think, some of that parking lot, the business, the mall owns the property, they sublease, so it's, no, you just call us, we'll deal with it.
Yeah, and one of the ones like on the opposite side of the street where Beals is and that, we've already got a trespassing agreement for that parking lot from the management that owns the property. So that's how we dealt with that one.
And I will say that we've seen, I think, some improvement in the homeless issues. I think the Circle K that closed in Youngtown was absolutely amazing. It's kind of kept them more focused towards the wash on the QT side, and so I think that's a positive. With respects to calls for service, we've seen a decrease in calls for service, so we'll continue to keep an eye on that. And if anything changes, we'll let you know. I feel like this is Sarah's meeting, so Sarah, you can come on back
Thank you, Captain. So Jonathan, you don't have anything, and Kelly, you don't have anything, okay. Kenny, do you have something?
Not following this. Good morning, and thank you all for having me and having Sun City Fire here. My name's Kenny, I'm the fire marshal here in Sun City. Chief couldn't make it this morning, so he asked me to attend, and wanted to kind of give you an update on what we're doing here at the fire department. Our budget's in right now. We're getting pre-approvals with our board, with our fire board. We expect to be approved at the end of June. And he also wanted to say, let's keep safe during the summer because it is getting hot. Let's stay hydrated and stay safe in your neighborhoods. Pay attention to the lock boxes. We do have that lockbox program that we're very familiar with. A couple other things that we have not seen an increase in calls yet for heat-related injuries. So we're doing well so far. The amount of calls that we're running still is consistent. We still run about 1,000 calls a month, so we are very busy. Other than that, I can't follow Captain Brian too well, and I'm not real good at that. So anyway, I'll be around for a little while. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, I've been told the fire thing on station on Olive, does it have the key to the lock boxes?
So you must be referring to Peoria, the Peoria station that's on Olive? Because there's, okay, so our neighboring departments do not have keys.
Yeah,
Only certain rigs have keys. When I say rig, that would be a fire engine. So hazardous materials rigs have that keys to get into certain areas of our community.
so they can get into Sun City,
They
because
can.
go to a lot of.
Correct.
Yeah.
But all of our, so our ambulances never leave Sun City. All of our ambulances have those keys.
Yeah.
So so they do not have our keys.
Yes.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much.